And don't want to fix it alone? Call RVFix to get virtual assistance from a certified technician today.
Hi, this is Kevin with RVFix. Today I want to talk to you about adjusting a through frame slide room. There is going to be a few tools we'll need offhand. You don't have to have the specifics. That's why I also have a couple big adjustable wrenches here as well. But if you are having the specific wrenches, you'll want a 3/4 inch, an inch and a 1/16, and then an inch and an 1/8 as well. And then just to help breaking up some of the bolts on there, also a ratchet with a 3/4 inch socket on there as well. I do have, different sizes just for when we're underneath there. Sometimes you can't get the big ratchet into certain places, so it always helps to have the multiple sizes on there. So what we're looking at today, when this slide room is ran all the way in, you can see we got a tighter gap up top than we do down below. And we're just going to need to do a few quick adjustments on this. Adjusting it, we are going to want to run it out. It's going to give you more room. When we get down under there, you'll see what I'm talking about. Another thing, we do have our slide room out now, so we have more room to work with our adjustments underneath. Doing this, you're going to want to be on as level of the ground as possible. If you are really uneven, these slide rooms do have a little bit of play that they can be moved just from how the trailer is actually sitting on your ground. So just keep that in mind if you're going to try to do these adjustments as well. So coming down underneath here, this drive arm right here, this is going to be more for adjusting the actual ins and outs of this guy. So when we were all the way in, our bottom was still kicked out just a little bit. So what we're going to do to get rid of that for our in stroke is going to be this bell and this jam nut right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to loosen up this jam nut first. And you can see everything actually is marked on here from where it came from the factory as well. So if we loosen up that jam nut, then we're able to move this bell freely, and it's just threaded, so it'll move in or it can move out. If you're moving it inwards, that's going to stop the slide even sooner. So we're already ending up with that problem, having the bottom not in all the way. So the proper way for adjusting to get rid of that little bit we had left is you're going to actually adjust this bell this way to run it out towards the outside of the slide. That'll give it a little bit more room when it sucks in. And any of these adjustments, when you're making these, you're going to want to have your spot where you set it, and then you're going to want to test it in and out to see where you're at that point, because we don't want to have this too extreme, letting it come in too far, and same with pushing it out. We wouldn't want to adjust it too far that way either. Okay, now we have our bell adjusted to the proper space. We tested it, it's closing all the way. Then we're just going to tighten our jam nut back up on here, and we're going to want to hold on to this guy while we actually get a bit more on that jam nut to help keep that thing from being able to move, vibrating down the road. Now the next set of stops on this would be if we had the opposite issue. If we were running this slide room all the way out and it wasn't sealing to the walls on the inside on the left or the right hand side, these are your adjustments for that at the end of your rod right here. The way we would adjust that is we're going to again break our jam nut loose. So your jam nut is actually the back one, this guy right here, and this is the nut that's going to control how far this shaft actually moves on there. There we go. So once we have that jam nut loose, now we're able to adjust the threaded nut at the front. And same thing, if we move this nut forward more, then when we bring this jam nut up against this, it's going to actually push the slide room out more. Just the opposite, if we didn't want it to go out as far as it's going too far out, when this jam nut's loosened, we would tighten this lock nut on the end. As that sucks it in, it lets the slide not go out as far. The way you would know if you had that issue, if you're running this slide room out and your fascia boards around the side of your slide room on the inside are kind of buckling or moving, a lot of the times that can be that the slide room is adjusted to where it's coming out too far. But same thing as with this, any adjustments you do, you'll test the slide room, make sure it's coming in and out as you want. And then once you get it to that point, then we're just going to tighten back up our jam nut on there. All right, so again, like I said, those are our in and our out adjustments for your through frame slide room. There is another set of adjustments that are able to do on these guys as well. If your slide room is sitting too crooked top to bottom, there's also adjustments on each arm underneath here that we have right here on these 3/4 inch nuts. So alrighty, and when we're looking at these adjustments under here, like I said, we're going to have these 2 bolts right here, and then you actually have this bolt down underneath. That's what actually can raise and lower this guy up or down some. As you're adjusting this, it would want to be in small increments at a time, around 1/4 inch on your turn of your bolts. You don't want to do too much. A little adjustment goes a long ways on how this slide room sits. Okay, so what we do first is we're going to actually loosen these 2. And you just need them loose. You don't need to worry about trying to take these off or anything like that. Okay, once you have both of those guys loose, the up and down adjustment for the pitch of the slide room, like I said, is going to actually be this bolt right here. So there is a jam nut on there. Okay, again, once that jam nut is loosened down off of there, you can see that's the more you were to loosen that, the more you would be able to adjust this bolt. Like I said, as you raise this one up, you're going to want to do the same thing on that exact opposite side. You want to keep this slide room even with each other side to side. These are adjustments as well as if you were crooked side to side. This would be how you adjusted the play out of that also. If the front was lower than the rear of the slide or vice versa, that would be how you actually adjusted that out of this as well. Okay, another thing that can be very helpful when you are trying to adjust these slide rooms is marking your start point. So you can see right here, I just took a silver marker and I actually just make a mark before I even started any adjustments, just to be able to know that point that you started from, in case if you are trying to adjust it and you might end up a bit worse than you were, or you're just trying to find that spot, you at least know where you started to be able to get it back to the original point. On these bolts that I loosened right here as well, you can see that we got different cross sections. So you got your top and bottom that this bolt on each arm would allow it to raise up or down, but there's also the cross slots on there as well. If we were to loosen the front and the back arm, if our box was out of adjustment front and back of the unit, it's too far forward or it's too far back, you could loosen all 4 of these and move the box that way as well by pushing it forwards or pushing it backwards, just to try to get that squared up on there as well. Okay, so after we have adjusted the box, we've tested it in and out, it is closing all the way, opening all the way, we are square front to back, we're not seeing any major indiscrepancies in the way the slide room's running, then we can go ahead and tighten back up these adjustments. So again, you have your jam nut that's down here, and we'll just get that snugged up. Nice and snug on there. And then we would do our bolts on the top of the plate right there. And I got those a little bit snug, and I just come through and snug them up a little bit more. So now, even though we've tested this every time we were adjusting, now that we have went back through and we tightened everything down, we are going to test it again, in and out, just to confirm that it is still opening and closing flush both ways, and it's square the way it's sitting. So one thing you will notice, and this is kind of with any slide room when they come all the way down to your skirt metal, there is going to be more of a gap wherever your skirt metal's at. What is important is that it is squishing the seal up against the body of the unit. Down here, not so important. There's nothing that water's going to get into or anything down there.
Thanks for watching. If this video didn't solve your problem, don't worry. We're here to help. give us a call at 1-844-66-RVFix. We'll diagnose your issue quickly with a certified technician on a video call, get any parts and warranty processed, and if needed, we'll coordinate a service center or mobile technician to get you fixed. We'll handle it all so you can get back to camping.